continued reading Nancy Clancy Book 4. Chapter 7, Interrogation. At lunch on Monday, Nancy and Bree sat at her usual table under the poster of 5 food groups. Nancy had bought the silver key. She held it out for her friends to see while telling the story of how she found it. Bree passed around a bag of veggie chips and said, "After school, we're going to bike over to the tax sale house and ask the lady if she knows what the key is for." "I get to come too," Grace said, appearing out of nowhere. She plopped down her tray and squeezed it in next to Clara. "It was my idea after all." Nancy grit her teeth. Grace's eavesdropping skills were superb. Nancy had to admit, Grace always heard exactly what you didn't want her to. "It was my idea," Grace repeated as she unwrapped her sandwich. "So it's only fair. Okay. On one condition. We ask all the questions," Nancy said. "You can't do any interrogating." Once they had their helmets on, Nancy and Bree slipped on their trench coats. Nancy was hot pink. Bree was purple. "It's hot." "What do you need coats for?" Grace said. "It so happens that these are kind of coats detectives wear when they are saluting," Nancy informed Grace. "Whatever," Grace said, and hopped on her Made in France bike. It was easy finding the way from school to the lady's house because she lived only 2 blocks over. After parking their bikes on the front lawn, Nancy knocked at the door. When the lady opened it, Nancy cleared her throat. Then, since she didn't know the lady's name, she smiled and said politely, "Madame, I hope we are not disrupting you. We need only a few minutes of your time. Oh, I remember you, to the tax sale. Your family came to the tax sale. You bought the Earl's top desk." Suddenly she looked puzzled. "Is something wrong with it?" "Oh no. It's painted alabaster white now with gold trim and looks great." "Well, what can I do for you girls?" "We are trying to solve a mystery," Bree began. Nancy dug in her trench coat pocket and showed the key to the lady. "This was in a hiding compartment in one of the desk drawers. I'm hoping you know what secret the key will reveal." Reveal was also one of Nancy's favorite words. It sounded so much mysterious than a show. The lady squinted at the key. "I have no earthly idea. Maybe my daughter knows. It used to be her desk. Would you like me to call her?" "Thanks. That'll be superb," Nancy said. The lady left them standing by the door. In less than 5 minutes she returned. "I'm afraid my daughter was no help either. All she said was the key had always been there." You couldn't even really count this as a new information. Still, Nancy tried milling over the lady's words. "Well, was it?" Grace started to speak, but Nancy turned and looked at her sharply. "Remember the rules." Then, suddenly Nancy thought of a question to ask. "Was the desk brand new when you got it?" "Rats! That was my question," Nancy ignored. Nancy ignored Grace and was pleased when the lady replied, "No, the desk used to belong to our next-door neighbors." "Oh la la!" Now the investigation was getting somewhere. "The house with the green shutters?" Nancy asked, pointing. The lady nodded. "Easy peasy," Bree explained. "Let's go." "Oh no, honey. The LaSalles moved years ago. In fact, 2 different families have lived in the house since then." "Where does LaSalle family live now?" Nancy took out her saluting notebook and pen. "The last I hear, they were in New York City." "The Big Apple! How glamorous, although New York was way too far away to bike to." "Do you have their phone number or email address?" "I did, but I don't know if either one is current. We haven't been in touch for years." And the lady paused for a second. "Well, I'm sorry, but I really wouldn't be comfortable giving out that kind of information." The lady backed away from the front door. It was clear that she didn't want to be irritated anymore. Suddenly, Nancy started feeling more like a pest than a practically professional salute. "We're sorry to have bothered you, and we thank you for your time," Nancy said sadly. "Good luck," the lady said. Nancy and Bree turned to leave, but Grace butted in. "Listen, if you do find an email address or something," she said to the lady, "you could write and see if your old neighbors would let us email them." "Yes." The lady drew out the word as if she were considering it. "I suppose I could do that. My name is Nancy and this is my family email address." Nancy wrote down clancyfamily@ROCOM and handed the slip of paper to the lady. "Thanks so much," Nancy said and pocketed her notepad. Then the three girls hopped back on their bikes and rode home. Nancy wasn't completely convinced the lady really would bother to try to track down her old neighbors, and Nancy certainly didn't like the way Grace had said us before as if she was a part of the investigation. However, Nancy had to hand it to Grace. If not for her, their sleuthing would have to come to a dead end. Sometimes it really paid off to be a pest. Bye!